want me to do any other book recommendations videos. Oh my god. Hi everyone, I'm Reading with Jack, and today I'm here with a video about books. I'm going to be recommending some books that I would definitely recommend to all of you lot. I've seen a lot of recommendations videos before in the past, and I found them really useful to find new books. Obviously, everyone in the booktube community always wants to buy new books, so hopefully this will persuade you to buy even more books, even if your to-be-read pile is already very high. So let's get going and let's talk about these books about books that I would completely recommend. The first few books are part of a series, and it's one that I always talk about. I will not stop talking about it until more people read it. And the first book is The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, and the series is called A Cemetery of Forgotten Books. This is one that I'd recommend if you're looking for a mysterious book about books with a lot of history, with a lot of culture. Given that it's set a few years after the Spanish Civil War, I think you can learn so much about the repercussions of war, how it affected Spain. There's a really complex and interesting backstory to that. I'm going to read what it says on the back so that it summarises it in a better way than I can, because I am really bad at synopsising, giving synopsises for books. Hidden in the heart of the old city of Barcelona is the Cemetery of Forgotten Books, a labyrinthine library of obscure and forgotten titles. To this library, a man brings his 10-year-old son Daniel one cold morning in 1945. Daniel is allowed to choose one book, and from the dusty shelf he pulls The Shadow of the Wind by Julian Carax. But as Daniel grows up, several people seem inordinately interested in his find. What begins as a case of literary curiosity turns into a race to find out the truth behind the life and death of Julian Carax, and to save those he left behind. Beautifully written, beautifully translated as well. It was initially written in Spanish. I just really enjoyed the way Carlos Ruiz Zafón tells such a vivid and dynamic story. If you've already read this, or if you read this and you do enjoy it, you might want to check out his other two books in the series. The second one is The Angel's Game. This one deals a lot more with the process of writing, what it means to be a writer, how you can earn your living as a writer. And the third one is called The Prisoner of Heaven. This basically ties up all of the loose ends from the first two books, and it gives a lot of conclusions to the mysteries that have been established. So definitely a few books that I would check out if you're looking for quite a long, complex, vivid, exciting book about books series. The next one that I'd like to recommend is a general fiction book, probably just found in the general area of a bookshop, not in any specific genres as such, and it is The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. This is one that I read at the beginning of this year, and I absolutely loved the atmosphere that was created. It was so intense, it was gothic and dark. I really loved the characters as well. They were so complex, really well developed. You can see a lot of post-it notes here. I had so many quotations to keep, and I had to highlight them and have post-it notes because I just need to keep them for reference. They're so bookish. The actual book itself is a really nice design as well, and I'm going to read what it says on the inside flap. All children mythologize their birth. So begins the prologue of reclusive author Vida Winter's collection of stories, which are as famous for the mystery of the missing 13th tale as they are for the delight and enchantment of the 12 that do exist. The enigmatic Winter has spent 6 decades creating various outlandish life histories for herself, all of them inventions that have brought her fame and fortune, but have kept her violent and tragic past a secret. Now old and ailing, she at last wants to tell the truth about her extraordinary life. She summons biographer Margaret Lear, a young woman for whom the secret of her own birth, hidden by those who loved her most, remains an ever-present pain. Struck by a curious parallel between Miss Winter's story and her own, Margaret takes on the commission. As Vida disinters the life she meant to bury for good, Margaret is mesmerised. It is a tale of gothic strangeness, featuring the Angelfield family, including the beautiful and willful Isabel, the feral twins Adeline and Emmeline, a ghost, a governess, a topiary garden, and a devastating fire. This also has a lot of references to Jane Eyre. It's very clear that the writer absolutely loves Jane Eyre, which is a classic, of course, that I recommend. So if you're looking for a book about books with references to other books that deal with books, definitely give this one a go. The next one I'd like to recommend is Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore by Sloan. This is actually my favourite book of 2014. It was such an exciting read, so much fun. Definitely quite a light-hearted, comical one, but still with a lot of mystery and a lot of adventure, which is really exciting. There isn't actually much on the back about what the book's about, and I actually think the joy about this book is discovering things as the mystery unfolds, but I'll read out what it says. Recession has shuffled Clay Janet out of his life as a web-design drone, and serendipity coupled with sheer curiosity has landed him a new job working the night shift at Mr. Penumbra's 24-hour bookstore. But it doesn't take long for Clay to realise that the quiet, dusty book emporium is even more curious than its name suggests. Basically, there are a lot of characters in this book who visit the bookshop, and they don't actually buy the books, they just seem to visit for strange reasons, and there are amazing scenes where the characters are actually climbing up bookshelves, and the bookshelves are really high up, there's ladders and everything. It's just crazily exciting and so much fun. I would love to visit a bookshop like this, and I can guarantee that you will as well after reading this book. The next book that I'd like to recommend is actually a non-fiction book. It's by a booktuber as well, so I'm sure everyone will want to check it out if you haven't already. It's called The Bookshop book by Campbell, and this is basically a collection of loads of different stories and accounts from real-life booksellers about their bookshops and where they work. There are a lot of weird and wonderful places all around the world in different continents. There are bookshops on boats, on buses, anywhere you can ever imagine, and it's great to see how different cultures affect the different bookshops that are there. Obviously it's a beautiful design itself as a book, and inside there are so many pictures of different bookshops, and I really loved watching, reading, and actually looking at these, I guess. Of all the different bookshops, you see there's one here on a boat. These are the ones from the UK. I remember some amazing ones from like Asia, like China and Japan. They were crazily amazing. Throughout the book as well, there are different bookish facts, as you can see here, and they're just really fascinating, so definitely one to read if you're looking for a non-fiction book about books. There's also another book that Campbell has wrote, and it is called Weird Things Customers Say in Bookshops. This is hilarious. It's basically a collection of different stories and dialogues and conversations between booksellers and customers, or between customers themselves. From reading it, it really made me want to work in a bookshop because it sounds like such an exciting thing. It's so crazily fun. It sounds quite awkward actually to get into a lot of these situations, but at the same time I think it'd be really fun, it'd be really exciting. So I keep saying fun and exciting, but basically that sums up what this book is. The final two that I'd like to talk about today are not ones that I've actually read myself, which is probably weird. So I'm not necessarily recommending that you definitely read them, but more that you look into them and perhaps consider buying them, because I've heard great things about them and I thought I'd just mention them to give a few more books in my recommendations list. The first one is called Afterworlds by Scott Westerfeld. I've talked about this quite a lot recently, and it's on my to-be-read pile for summer. Amazing cover, amazing spine, I always have to talk about it. Just so bold and so dynamic, I absolutely love it. I'm not going to go into a lot of specific detail because I haven't yet read it, to be honest. I don't know what I should reveal and what I shouldn't, but basically it's about a character who's writing her own novel in the month of November. I think it's part of NaNoWriMo. Basically, she is writing the novel. You get to read about her writing process, the book parties that she goes on, the author tours, all of the signings and everything, but you also read the book that she's writing as well. I want to read it soon, and I will report back to you if it's a good book. And the other one is one that I honestly don't know much about. Most people seem to like it, and it's one I'd recommend looking into if you're wanting a translated book. This was originally written in French and it's been translated into English. It's called A Novel Bookstore by Laurence Cossé. Personally, I love reading translations. As a languages student, I think it's really exciting, and I'm definitely going to read the French edition after reading this one to see how it compares. Inside, I believe it talks a little bit about the bookshop and what kind of books they sell, so I'll read out what it says. The Good Novel Bookstore offers its clientele literary masterpieces, both contemporary and classic, selected by a top-secret committee of authors. The store has proven an instant success, but nobody could have imagined that such success would unleash a tide of hatred. Now there are those who will stop at nothing to destroy the good novel. One by one, the pieces of the puzzle fall ominously into place as it becomes clear to the store's owners, Ivan and Francesca, that their dreams of an ideal place for books may be shattered by envy and violence. Elegantly mixing the mystery and literary fiction genres, Laurence Cossé has written an enthralling fable for lovers of good books and a heartfelt tribute to fine bookselling. Definitely sounds like a good one if you're looking for bookshops again and to read about bookshops, so definitely buy that, and I will again tell you if it's a good book after I've read it. So here are the books about books that I would recommend reading and buying, and they're all going to fall over, but you can't even see the bookshop book, it decided to hide the other way around. So thank you for watching this recommendations video, everyone. Hopefully it was useful and you discovered some new books. Definitely let me know down below in the comments if you're planning to read any of these or buy them, and also let me know if you've read any before as well. I would also really like to know some of your book about books recommendations, because I really want to read more of these kinds of books and I need more recommendations, so let me know in the comments. Also maybe let me know if you want me to do any other book recommendations videos. Oh my god! Sorry about that, everyone. The books literally just fell. They were like sat here and they just went. But anyway, also let me know in the comments if you want me to do any other kinds of book recommendations videos, different genres and things. But until next time, I'm going to go clear these books away now, and I will see you all again in my next video.